Okay guys, as you can see, here we are with Jade and we are at Thunder Mountain Harley Davidson. We are going to be doing demo days today and riding all of the 2024s if I can get on each one of them. So let's do some reviews and see what all the lineup is like.
Recording.
Okay guys, we are getting ready here to take out this Pan America Special 250. Let me do this here. Okay. Okay, just getting set up. We're here with Thunder Mountain Harley Davidson demo days. I'm gonna jump on this bad boy and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna go out and follow the group and see what this can do, how it compares. And then after the ride, we'll get into the stats and details. Okay, excuse the grunting and groaning. Folks, I'm an old man. You gotta give me a little bit of a break. Height is very good. On these, it is height adjustable, so it is currently at the lowest setting. Actually, now it's at the lowest
Media
setting.
volume set to 5%. Recording.
Okay, I don't know what happened there, but we're back. Let's see here. So this bike has 21 miles on it.
Battery level is low.
And apparently my battery level is low, so we'll try to get this in and we'll go from there. Okay. Engine does not sound like your normal Harley engine, but it is not supposed to. We are currently in first gear. Here we go. Maneuverability is good. It's very lightweight. I am much higher up than on most bikes. Now, incidentally, the clutch pedal, the shifter pedal, is situated such that to get my foot underneath it, I have to point it at the ground. But the way the bike ergonomic is set up, it is not uncomfortable like it was on the Lowrider ST. All right. Yep, and that suspension, which lowers when you go to a stop and then raises on up once you start going like this, is amazing. It is not intrusive at all. Okay. This bike is a lot more bouncy on its suspension. Takes a little getting used to. Right now we're on road mode. Brakes have a very light feel to them. And this is easy to tip around. Tip to the left and right, it's doing just fine. This bike has plenty of power, y'all. They're closing the helmet so you guys can hear me a little bit better. Now the turn signals on this guy are like metric bikes in that they are on the left hand side and you move it in one direction or the other to represent which blinker you want to engage. That takes a little getting used to, at least for us Harley guys. I will tell you, most of my braking, most of it, has just been rear brake. There has been very little need for using the front brakes. Getting a little confused on my gearing there, because I'm not used to the feeling. I tend to shift by feel. Definitely super easy to maneuver, there's no doubt about that. And definitely does not sound like a Harley Davidson by any means. Wind protection is, let's state it this way. Wind protection is almost non-existent. There is no blocking of airflow. However, it is pretty darn good at keeping the pressure of the wind off. So I have cooling effects all over my body. I can feel enough wind that everything on my body is getting airflow. There's no dead spots. But I have no pushback from that wind. So keep that in mind. Is the windscreen on here enough to affect whether you're a slightly warmer or slightly colder on the ride? No, not at all. Is it going to keep you from being fatigued? For a bit. I think it'll do a decent job at keeping you from getting fatigued by the wind. But that's about it. And this bike does do much better at higher speeds. That is not normal for an adventure bike. That it continues to get better the faster that you go. They normally like to live in that mid-range. Now, one thing that's pretty neat about this is where my knees are, my legs. It is narrow, more narrow than everything that Harley makes except for my old Iron 883, the old Sportsters. Other than those, this is a very narrow, which gives you a good grasp point for your legs. You can squeeze your legs together, and believe it or not, it helps it maneuver a little bit better, a little bit quicker. You move your tailbone, and the whole bike responds. Okay, so I'm in fifth. I'm going to go to 50, and I'm going to just punch it a little bit. Yeah, that'll go. And that was just maybe like a half an inch, if that, turn on the throttle. So, yeah, it jumps pretty quick. And that's in fifth gear. Am I feeling the crosswind a bit? Yeah. Yeah, I am. But it's not any worse than this when I was on the soft tails. So about the same level of susceptibility to crosswind as your typical soft tail. The biggest thing that I think most Harley owners would need to come to terms with is the sound. It's a lot more tin-like, tinny, um, almost like an old tractor sound instead of your typical Harley sound. So keep that in mind. No change in that. I'm gonna leave it in fifth and see how it does around this low speed. And yeah, no problems, no dying, no struggling. Didn't have to downshift. Yeah, except for the engine sounding like a 1972 Toyota Corolla, um, I'm pretty impressed. Stability is great. Grip is good. Power's really good. Wind performance is okay. And I'm sure the main thing that this bike was designed to add to the lineup, which I won't be able to test today, I'm pretty sure that that's going to be pretty decent. That's your off-road capability. Would I buy one of these? Yes, especially where I live, which is in the mountains right outside of Boulder. I think that this would be pretty sweet to have. Now, would I trade in my Road King special for this? Absolutely not. Um, yeah, it's not something that's designed to replace anything else in the Harley lineup. But it is definitely an added tool for a niche that they have never addressed before. Yeah, the brakes on this are really, really good. And again, I'm primarily just touching the back, hardly ever touching the front. And brakes are really good on here.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I'm sorry if you're listening. The phone's AI keeps interrupting, thinking I'm talking to it, which of course I'm not. This whole AI thing going on, I'm not down with it. I'm just going to say that. I am just not down with it. And I wish my phone would stop interrupting me. Something to note, my butt is already getting a little achy now. Could that be because I've been test driving bikes all day? Very possible. Is it more likely that the seats just seeming not to agree with my bum? That's probably what it is. It does give good back support as far as pushback. That little step in the seat gives real good support there. But the part of the seat that goes over the saddle, so to speak, that's already pushing into some spots on my rear tuchus. So something to be aware of. I expected the seat to be a wee bit more comfortable, primarily because one of my favorite seats of any of the bikes I've owned was on my 2020 Fat Bob, and it had a very similar design to this one. And that, I still stand by to this day, has been the best factory designed seat of any brand that I have ever sat in. And I had that bike and put some serious miles on it over about a 2-year period, and not disappointed in that seat at all. So when I saw this one, I was like, another one, very similar, it's going to do as good a job, and I'm starting to doubt that now. I'm thinking if you're going to get this, a seat replacement might be in your future. So due to necessity, I had to start out in 4th gear, and it did pretty well for that. No loss of power or chugging. Yep. I was a little revving with the clutch in. What happened was these little twisty ties right over here that they have the keys attached with had blown around in such a way that one of them was poking right into the webbing between 2 fingers as I was squeezing that brake to come to a stop at that last stop sign. So could not stop squeezing brake. That wouldn't have been a good idea. But yeah, that hurt just a tad. And in realigning those, we started going before I had realized I needed a downshift. So starting out in 4th from a stop, no problem. We're almost back to the dealership here. And I want to thank Thunder Mountain, Harley Davidson, for setting this whole demo day up. Most dealerships, they wait for that big black truck to come that unloads all the demo bikes, and not the case here. Rather than make their clientele wait, Thunder Mountain has decided to put on a demo day using their own inventory. So that's a big risk for them, and I really appreciate it. So good stuff. And as we return, I'm going to get situated and see what the next bike we're going to ride is. See y'all in just a few more moments. Okay guys, so Harley's come out with this engine, the Revolution Max, and it's in the 1250 version on the Pan America and the Pan America Special. This bike is for a type of rider that has not had access to Harley. I don't really think it's a matter of Harley growing into new markets as much as Harley knowing that there's people out there that have to ride in a certain style that do not have a Harley product that benefits them And they're trying to find ways to give everybody a chance to be able to live their lifestyle and yet be part of the Harley family. So this bike is a liquid-cooled engine. It is very high revving, lots of power all through the rev range. And it really stands out among all the adventure bikes out there. Everybody is shocked and scrambling, from BMW to Triumph to KTM. They're scrambling to prevent the exodus of their riders, of their customer base, switching over to Harley. This bike has a lot more things we're going to get into in a few moments, but just with this engine, it has set a new threshold. Now, it comes with 95 pounds of torque. Doesn't seem like a lot off the top of it, but when you go all the way down there to the bottom and see the wet weight is only 569 pounds, that's a heck of a lot of engine torque, and it's 152 horsepower. Fuel economy is about 46 miles per gallon. Now, I think that this picture here really sums up what I meant by my previous statement. This is the type of riding that this bike is intended for. These type of people do a lot of mountain type of riding. They have switchbacks that they have to throw the weight around. They ride in situations where there could be gravel coming down onto the road, temperature changes, weather changes, all kinds of much more harsh type of things than your typical Harley rider normally would go after. Now, of course, there's always the iron guys. By iron, I mean the tough riders that will ride in any weather, any conditions. Great. That's perfect. That is not for the majority of people. This bike gives you a lot more versatility for these type of things. Like, for instance, I live in Boulder, more specifically up in the mountains right outside of Boulder. I have, I don't know, maybe a quarter-mile driveway that is all gravel and sometimes icy and snowy and everything else. And it's hard to take Jade out with the weight of my bike being about 1,000 pounds. And it not designed for that type of terrain. Just to get to the road to be able to ride it can be a challenge. That's where this bike comes in. And Harley came out fighting. They didn't come out to meet all the competition. They came out to far exceed them while staying true to one key principle, and that is complete ability to customize. And yes, you can really find a lot of customizations already out there for the Pan American. That's just going to grow over the years. So if you haven't ridden this bike, or if you have any doubts that there are maybe times when you're going to be in this type of situation, this type of terrain, you really owe it to yourself to go out and ride this bike. If you're new to Harley and you haven't considered Harley before because they didn't have a bike for what you needed, the right tool for the right job, now this bike will open a lot of doors for you. So kudos to Harley. I really love this bike. I'm actually considering adding one of these to my stable to have an additional bike. I really do like everything that it has to offer in the construct of using it for its intended purpose. Now, I'm not going to give up this beauty right here. This is Jade Shadow, my 21 Road King Special. In the next 4 weeks, there's going to be a ton of videos coming out with some changes we're going to be doing to her. I hope that you're going to watch and see what we're doing. Give me your advice. Nothing's set in stone. We can pivot on a dime and change up the direction we're going. But I have some vision that we're going to be following here, while we're going to also be posting more reviews of the 2024 lineup. So please join us. I really appreciate you being here. Leave me your comments. I want to know what you think about the Pan America. Drop it down below. Please subscribe. I really appreciate all the help to grow the channel. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Stay on two wheels.